Cop accuses black judge for stolen car. Seconds later, she flashed her ID and ended his career. Get out of the car. Now. She didn't flinch, but her hand hovered near her blazer. The officer's voice grew louder, accusing her of theft. Crowds watched, cameras rolled, and just when the tension felt ready to snap, she pulled it out. Not a weapon, not her wallet, but a federal badge with her name, Judge Monique Ellis. What happened next unraveled his entire career. This isn't just a story about a car, it's about what happens when power assumes guilt and truth answers with authority. This is The Hidden Authority. Welcome, story lovers. From where are you watching? Hit the like button and drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. It was a crisp autumn morning in Washington, D.C., and Judge Monique Ellis had just wrapped up a long night reviewing juvenile justice reform proposals. She was known in the city's legal circles as a brilliant mind, a tough but fair judge, and one of the youngest black women ever appointed to the bench. Despite her courtroom prestige, she lived a quiet, solitary life, one grounded in humility, faith, and purpose. That morning, she was finally heading home. Her car, a sleek black Lexus, gifted to herself after her federal appointment, waited in the reserved lot just outside the courthouse. As she adjusted her glasses and started the ignition, her thoughts were still on a case involving a wrongly profiled teen boy. She didn't know yet that she was about to experience a version of that story herself, on the other side of the badge. The flashing red and blue lights came out of nowhere. Monique had only driven a few blocks when the police cruiser cut her off and forced her to the curb. Her heart didn't race. She had done nothing wrong. But the officer approaching her window had a different energy. Aggressive, condescending. No greeting, no explanation. Just an order. License and registration. Step out of the car. She complied, calmly, but he didn't even look at her ID. Instead, he looked at her car, muttered something about not matching the driver, and called for backup. The street started filling with tension. Onlookers peeked out from shop windows. Another squad. Car pulled in behind her. Stolen vehicle, possibly armed, she heard him say into the radio. It was surreal. She wasn't wearing her robe, she wasn't behind the bench, and suddenly to this officer she wasn't a judge. She wasn't even a woman, she was just a suspect. When she tried to speak, he raised his voice, accusing her of being uncooperative. She was asked to place her hands on the hood. She refused, but respectfully. The officer stepped closer. He was ready to escalate. That's when she reached slowly into her blazer, pulled out her federal ID badge, and held it up level with his face. He froze. It wasn't just the ID, it was her name, her title, United States District Judge Monique Ellis. The backup officer's expression shifted instantly, and the crowd. They had their phones out. The scene went silent. The accusing officer took a step back, blinking hard, suddenly unsure of everything he'd just done. The backup officer whispered something in his ear. His face turned pale. He had just racially profiled a sitting federal judge, in broad daylight, on camera. Monique didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her badge said enough. The silence around them wasn't just shock, it was the weight of consequences. He tried to explain, to backtrack, but it was too late. The moment was already viral, and the wheels of justice, ones she usually turned from behind the bench, were now spinning against him. Dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give it a like, it helps. By evening, the footage had made national headlines. The officer was suspended pending investigation. Civil rights leaders weighed in. And Judge Ellis, she, returned to her chambers the next morning. Composed, respected, but different. Because what happened wasn't just a mistake. It was a mirror, a reminder of how deeply racial bias still runs, even when staring justice in the face. She didn't press charges. She didn't need to. The world saw the truth. In interviews that followed, she spoke not of anger, but of accountability. of how even power and title can't shield you from prejudice if your skin tells a different story. So the question isn't whether you're qualified, it's how many times must we prove our worth before we're seen as human? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and new videos. Take care.